All right, let's start with the highlight numbers of the vehicle I'm currently driving. We have a twin turbocharged V8 engine making 626 horsepower. 0 to 60 happens somewhere in the 3-second range. Top speed is about 155, I believe. The price tag is north of $200,000. The performance is amazing, and you have a suspension system that's a mixture of air components and hydraulic components. It's a very engaging, sporty setup. The fascinating part is when we step outside the vehicle, when you realize what I'm talking about is a Range Rover. This is the Cuckoo Bananas 2025 Range Rover Sport SV Edition 2 specifically, but the SV in general. We have typical Range Rover Sport styling on the outside. This is what the new look of Range Rover is, just big, flat-ish panels with a little bit of curve to them. I like the design language of these current Range Rovers. I still think the big dog Range Rover has always looked better than the Range Rover Sport to me. I know a lot of people like the Sport. I am still team full-size Range Rover, but this Range Rover Sport is closer to the full-size Range Rover in terms of its looks now. Just big, bulky bodies, and I mean that in a good way on these vehicles. I like the lettering on the tailgate and the nose. It works. The low SV badge, and then this has a cool, what they call it, like copper something finish paint on the outside, but it's got the satin protection over it. So you got the satin look, and it's protecting the paint at the same time. With this SV Edition 2, we have a fully carbon fiber hood, and then you'll notice carbon fiber placed throughout, and we'll get to the wheels in a little bit, because take a closer look, because damn. On the inside, it's definitely a modern, luxurious Land Rover product. It's a mix of sportiness and luxury that you've come to expect if you've been paying attention to this brand for the last few years. The center screen here looks like it's kind of floating, which is a cool effect, but I guess it's maybe better than the tacked on, but it's just a step above that. It's got a nice little curve to it, so you can see it pretty easily, and it kind of flows with the dash, which is a nice touch. The digital gauge cluster ahead of me is really crisp and easy to read, which is a nice thing. And then wireless CarPlay works pretty effortlessly, and then the menus, you get to all your stuff. The problem is, though, it's all touchscreen. There's some physical controls on the steering wheel, but when you want to get the HVAC, you got to you got to touch spots on the screen to make it happen. Those buttons that you do have to press are big, which is good, so it's big targets where you're landing, which is nice, and the screen itself is very responsive. Steering wheel feels good. I like the big bright button to activate SV mode. You get your wireless charger here. You got a cold box in here, which is also a plus. And then these seats themselves are an equal blend of sporty and luxury. They're nicely bolstered. They got a good shape and design to them, but they are comfortable in spite of the very stiff ride. It's not like punishingly stiff, but for an SUV, it's pretty darn stiff. So the powertrain here, 4.4 liter V8 twin turbo. Turbo's nestled in the V. It's an engine borrowed from BMW, but it gets a Land Rover ECU. It gets a full Land Rover tune. It's Land Rover takes the basic engine and then makes it their own, essentially. 626 horsepower, and it is delivered wonderfully. It goes out, you feel it. But this thing is crazy because of all the different drive modes. You put it into, there's a button here at the bottom of the steering wheel called SV, and what that does is it fully awakens powertrain, the 6D suspension, the gearbox, the throttle response, all that good stuff. And it is a clear difference from dynamic to SV. I like that the engine isn't too shouty, but you can hear it. There's some dignity there. It's not a dumb BMW, pop, 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 look at me, bah! It's not that, but there is a good tone back there. Sometimes I do wish it was louder, but I'm glad there's not crazy overrun and insanity. The handling, it's occasionally a little rubber bandy on center, but otherwise it is nice and almost shocking for an SUV. This is truly an on-road high-performance SUV. I know Land Rover says you can still take these off-road. You cannot with the wheel and tire package. You cannot specifically also with that low chin lip up there. The things that make it look good and quick on-road will make it, you will destroy it. If you take this in the off-road, you will destroy it. Now, the 6D suspension is pretty crazy. It's almost like this is a McLaren SUV of sorts in terms of the hydraulic side of things. I'm gonna switch seating positions so I can give you a better explanation of it so I'm not focused on the road now. Okay, so 6D dynamic suspension. It's essentially like a leveled up version of Toyota's KD-SS. It uses hydraulic lines to reduce pitch and roll, and unlike in Toyota's KD-SS, which still uses anti-roll bars, the Land Rover system is so good that it doesn't need the roll bars anymore. So basically you now have a vehicle that can let wheels articulate as they need to articulate, but they can also stiffen the whole thing up to eliminate nosedive under braking, nose lift under acceleration, and then the general pitch and roll movements that happen in dynamic situations. Pairing it with Land Rover's various terrain response modes and other driving modes, and even their towing modes, it's responding in real time to what is going on to the vehicle in the world around it. It's a pretty slick system that does a darn fine job of keeping you really comfortable in that vehicle. I just wish it had all-terrain tires so I could try it out in the dirt. Basically, there's hydraulic systems that are running between the axles, and it's cross-linked dampers, but also it's paired with air suspension. So it's not just the pitch and roll mitigation, it's also raising and lowering the vehicle independent of that 6D suspension system and working with it at the same time, which is pretty impressive, and that is how it works. Okay, back here in the car, a more practical application of the 6D and its benefits happened over the weekend when I was stopped at a store to grab a couple beers for later on when I was gonna be working on the Mustang. I had them set on the back seat in a plastic bag. Driving down the road on a 50-mile-per-hour speed limit road, doing 60, because that's what you do, and the light not that far up ahead of me went red. So I had to go pretty hard on the brakes, and I just reactively put my hand out because I'm like, oh, the beers on that seat are gonna go sliding. Put my hand out, never felt them because there was no hard brake dive, so my beers didn't go sliding across the seat. And in that moment, I started laughing because that's what makes the vehicle comfortable for passengers. The lack of brake dive, nose dive under braking, the lack of nose lift under heavy acceleration, and then, minimizing body roll in corners. So it's a very comfortable suspension system with very tangible, practical benefits. I'm not taking this off-road, so I can't speak to the off-road application of 60. Later on in the year, when we get our hands on Defender Octa, we'll get that thing in the dirt. But on the road here in the Range Rover Sport SV, I'm pretty impressed on just an on-road comfort level. Now, one thing I think they could do to take this to the next level is in the comfort mode, or in like an individual mode, if you could dial up the level of, just soften the vehicle up, just for like day-to-day commuting and moving passengers around. If you could make it softer, the spread of comfort to fully radical dynamism, if they could increase the spread, that would be the way to take this to the next level in terms of on-road performance. And I hate even talking about on-road performance for Land Rover products. I want to talk about off-road performance, and I cannot do that in this vehicle because of the wheel and tire package on it. This is wearing carbon fiber 23-inch wheels. Carbon fiber 23s. Bananas. This has all seasons. You can spec a summer. It's a staggered setup. Out back, they are 305, 35, 23s on a Range Rover Sport. Just a bonkers wheel. The wheel and tire package itself is a $10,000 add-on for the carbon fibers. And then behind the wheel and tire is a set of carbon ceramic brakes. That is another $9,000. The front rotors are 17 8.3 inches with 8 piston calipers. There are no braking issues with the Range Rover Sport SV. It goes quickly, it stops quickly and efficiently and cleanly, and oh my God, just massive, massive brakes behind insanely massive carbon fiber wheels. And that $10,000 cost to buy the wheels, I get, but if you curbed or scuffed one of those wheels, I guarantee you the cost to replace one will be equal to what you paid to buy them as a package initially. Because when you go to replace a wheel, the cost per wheel is insane. When they sell it as a package, it's a different thing. When you go to replace one wheel, you are going to shit yourself. So down the road, if you are the second or third owner of a Range Rover Sport SV and you mess up one of your carbon fiber wheels, you're gonna have to switch to aluminum wheels. And once you add on those brakes that are on this thing, I don't know what wheel you're gonna fit on there to then fit a proper tire anyway, but you can still raise and lower this thing. It does, you can put it up into an off-road height mode, but I mean, if you take this off-road, cheers, but your repair bill will be tall. It's shocking how well this drives, and I prefer Range Rovers and Land Rovers that you can get dirty, but this is still just a true rocket ship of a machine. If I had a long highway journey ahead of me, this would be the thing to take. The sound system, the massage seats, all the good stuff that you have would make just the engine that transforms distances into smaller things, shorter moments of time. It also shortens your bank account pretty damn heftily. I think maybe the SV starts at 180 something. The Edition 2, you're over 200 with options. The wheel and tire, blah blah blah. You're staring down 220 to 230 in a Range Rover Sport. Not even a Range Rover Sport. That is just a price tag that is insane, but this does keep up with the other fast attack SUVs out there. And if it's probably quicker than a handful of them too. While offering great interior room inside and just a luxurious experience at the same time. It delivers on the promises that the exterior is serving up to your eyeballs and your brain matter. Yeah, it's not cheap. Nothing these days is cheap, and this is it a $200,000+ experience? It competes with things that cost this much, so I guess it is. It just sucks to be poor and not be able to afford these. But I wouldn't buy this one anyway. I wouldn't buy because I want to get it dirty. I want to see the badge covered in mud, and I'm not going to do that with this thing. Defender Octa, same insane performance, but that you can get it dirty. Those are two different buyers, though. Those are two different buyers of the vehicle. Someone probably who maybe appreciates I wonder if the Octa is going to end up. I'm ranting and raving here. I wonder if the Octa is going to end up like with the G-Wagon crowd, where it's just a wildly capable thing that is never used to 10% of its capability. I could see that happening very much so with the Octa. I hope that's not the case. I hope they are flung across dunes and through mud pits and on dirty roads and to the far reaches of the world, on safari in Africa and trekking across Iceland and all that good stuff. I don't think that's going to happen, but I really hope it does. But we shall see. There's no pretending. There's no that, I'm going to use it for this. No, you're not playing pretend here. This you're taking to Erewhon in LA. This you're taking to Nobu Sushi for dinner. You're going on nice vacations, on road trips. You're going skiing at Aspen and Tahoe and Vail and all those insane places. So there's no pretending here. You're not cosplaying as an off-roader. You've said, no, I think dirt is gross. But speed is addicting and wonderful. Let's fucking yellow light. Fuck you, traffic.